Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and it's late over here in the UK, no doubt about it, but that's no excuse when there's some cracking Call of Duty being played. 4 great matches to talk about, some upsets, some surprises, no doubt. Very much intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new as always, I greatly appreciate it. I've already upset the channel, thank you very much indeed for doing that. Of course, the 4 games of the day were as follows: Raven, Surge, Mutineers, Subliners, Empire, Rokkr, and OpTic and Ultra to finish off the session. Let's talk about the first series of the day. Surge versus Ravens. I was expecting something of a closer series. To be fair, this game 1 was absolutely ridiculous. I have no idea how Seattle won this. To be fair, they should have won it so much easier than they did. They had so many streaks. There was like a combined, well, a ridiculous streak combined between them. You see the streak that Prestinni goes on right here, goes on a 10. But, well, somehow Ravens bring it back. They should, to be honest, have closed out the game. Somehow Gunless manages to get a 3-piece from top red, and then they, well, you know, they win it on 250, 247 or something. And at that point, it felt like maybe full had been somewhat lost for the London guys. But, you know, fair play. I think it was Shawnee game 1, Afro as well, who was doing some damage, but game 2 also goes the way of the Seattle Surge, and that's really the thing with London right now, that Afro these last few series has honestly looked incredibly good, and certainly like he's got to be the guy you've got to build around next year if you're the London guys right now, you know, really trying his hardest here. Says Sport Josh, would be nice for him to get a little help, and well, he doesn't get it towards the end of this control actually. Really weird control. I think defense is won pretty much every single round, as it tends to be with the lower tier squads. They really struggle to get an offensive win. Surge finally get the job done though in the final round, and that's a 3-0 victory for the guys on the Seattle Surge. And yeah, Afro tried his best. As we'll look at the post-game scoreboard right here, you can see Afro with a 1.35 plus 17. This guy honestly doing it all for his squad. Wasn't enough though. Octane goes positive, Prestinni goes positive with a great series from him, and well, that is enough for the Seattle Surge to continue on in the lower bracket. Of course, it's going to be tough for them. Next up, they play FaZe. The lower bracket right now is absolutely stacked. There is no doubt about that, as we'll talk about here in the coming minutes. But yes, things certainly do not get easier for them, because last stage, they beat Paris and London in the lower bracket, of course, and well, they're going to do so. Well, they've already done so this major, but last time they then lost to OpTic in the lower bracket. I'm pretty sure this time round they're going to face FaZe, so whether they'll have a similar fate to last time, that remains to be seen. GG's London 1-3-0, get to play Chicken Little tomorrow, and the FaZe guys over there, the Tiny Terrors, no doubt. Prestinni, of course, living in the same room as the opponent tonight. I guess Arcitys on that side of things is twin brother. Any ideas? Laxton perhaps, JK, of course, and well, Octane certainly has some ideas to, well, give Seattle the best possible chance to win that series tomorrow. Let's talk about this next series then, New York versus Florida. Every single time these guys match up in the low bracket, New York tend to get the better of Florida somehow, some way, and well, of course, they had Clayster before. This time, I thought the Mutineers were finally going to get the job done, but it's honestly remarkable how Mutineers managed to throw away these series. They just don't seem to have that, like, kind of clutch gene when they're in an environment like this. Of course, you know, they were hoping to play against fans for the rest of the weekend. They're not going to be able to do that, right, because not making it to the Saturday, of course. This game 1 was completely dominant, though, for the Mutineers. They come out early on, a massive advantage. They close out the game in the end, even though it did get a little bit sketchy at a time, no doubt. Game 2, they also close out, so it looks like Mutineers are going to find a way to do it, but I'm pretty sure, like, maybe stage 2 or something, New York reverse swept Mutineers in the lower bracket to stay alive in one of the majors, and it begins happening here in this control, a checkmate control where New York just about clutch it up, and you've got to say fair play, right, because with Clayster on the scene before, they certainly had that great resilience that New York have had pretty much this entire season with that duo that I just talked about, but even without Clayster now, certainly seems like they still have it in a very difficult spot. Their tournament lives on the line, trying to prove something, of course, to Clayster, I guess, for you know, at least some of the discussions of late has been how he, like, you know, perceived to have quit on the team and etc, has put them in a tough spot right here. They get the job done in the control. Pretty ridiculous control, actually, as Octane mentions. 5 offenses, 1 every single round. That's probably the first time that's happened all season, to be honest. New York roster has to buy some lotto tickets, and their good luck would continue into the next hardpoint. They win a raid hardpoint against them. Well, that is the map, to be honest, where Florida and Skies especially has been particularly good this entire season. I think Hydra was having some issues in, especially the first hardpoint. I mean, I don't know. The first hardpoint, he started off like 2-12, so I was imagining maybe there was some sort of issues going on there. And also the game 4, apparently there were some issues as well. But New York managed to get the job done, but then, you know, immediately we get into some technical delays. This is something which tends to happen. Like, now we've gone to PC. One of the downsides of that is PCs generally have more issues than consoles. Like, if you guys watch PC Esports a lot, like at Counter-Strike or something, there's always PC issues and tech delays and stuff, even on LAN, whereas consoles don't generally have those issues. So some sort of tech delay, there was some sort of freezes going on, I'm pretty sure Hydra was saying, with this PC, and you know, PC issues continue for, honestly, for Hydra this entire season. And okay, finally they fix it. We go into a game 5, and there's a flank say TDL technician, a real one. The problem is the USB is disconnected. Whichever way we flip it, it just won't plug in. Finally they get the job done. Frustrating for us over in Europe, to be honest, having to watch all these technical delays continue when you know there's this game 5 and 2 more series still still to be played on the day. And, well, this I thought was kind of interesting after they go on to lose the series from Loony. We'll have a look at just here in a second. But yeah, Mutineers lose it in the end. Game 5, round 11. Newell get the job done. Fair play to those guys, but honestly, just another absolutely tragic defeat for the Florida Mutineers. I'm not sure how they managed to pull this off every single time, but it happens again. And as we saw Loony say right here, if they had someone who'd have been the factor for them on land, they like to have slacked maybe on the bench. I'm sure he's implying here that, well, maybe that could have got the job done in these kind of clutch situations. This was interesting as well. There was a clip that came up from Havoc kind of talking about, look, I don't really know who this Diamond Con guy is. He couldn't even last the whole season on New York. And well, all of a sudden, Diamond Con gets the victory and wants to shut him up in the process, no doubt. So Sky says, like, down super atrociously, really wanted to play in front of a crowd again. Doesn't happen for them. But let's talk about the penultimate series of the day. That's Dallas Empire versus Minnesota Rokkr. Rokkr coming off an incredible victory against FaZe just yesterday, looking to take down back-to-back both grand finalists from the previous major, and also grand finalists from the first major of the season. That would be quite the remarkable story. Doesn't start off exactly how they would like. Garrison Hardpoint has been such a good map for Dallas this entire season, pretty much. It's also solid for Rokkr, but yeah, this was one I felt like Dallas had to win. They come out and they do indeed get the job done. Very good on this map, there's no doubt about it. But Search and Destroy has always been where Rokkr have had their strength so far this season, and if they can consistently win searches, they become a very scary prospect. Miami Search, they get the job done right here. I mean, it was a 2 versus 2. Shotzzy couldn't quite find this kill onto Attach, and Attach and Standy get the job done, win the Miami Search and Destroy. Honestly, Miami is like, at times it's so dull to watch. I'll just look away, and it's always like, I don't know, it's always back and forth, right, because people keep winning defenses. To be fair, there were some good offensive wins this map, especially from the Rokkr, that I did kind of notice. But yeah, they tie up the series, then they go into a control, and this is where the individuals just took over again. Priestahh was making plays, Standy was making plays, pretty much everyone when they needed to was doing something on the side of the Minnesota Rokkr. They closed this one out 3-1, I'm pretty sure, in this control, and that's enough for a 2-1 advantage in the series, exactly where they want to be, especially given that against FaZe yesterday, they won the 4th hardpoint, or won the 4th map of the game, that being, of course, a hardpoint to close out the series. They do exactly the same here. Honestly, textbook hardpoint from them on checkmate, and they get the job done. I mean, honestly, remarkable. Stanley is a monster again. Honestly, like, I cannot overstate how good this guy is right now. Statistically incredible. What a performance from the Rokkr, right? They come out in this series and once again get a 3-1 victory over both grand finalists of the previous major, FaZe and Dallas. Both of those teams already down to losers. I mean, wow, Rokkr, what a spot they find themselves in now. In the winners finals, guaranteed top 3 at the tournament. That pretty much solidifies what the results are going to be for this entire, well, for the, the stage for the World Championship, let's just say, because they're now guaranteed going to get that 6th seed at the very least. I'm pretty sure they can't get any higher than 6th unless things go absolutely crazy. But that means that Los Angeles Thieves and Florida Mutineers will be the 2 teams starting in the lower bracket for the champs, unless I'm pretty sure Los Angeles Thieves have to win the entire thing or something for that to, well, not be the case any longer. And realistically, that is just straight up not going to happen. Statistically as well, like, usually Dallas get outslayed and can still sometimes win. Didn't happen this time. Standy plus 19, Priestahh plus 18, Attach plus 9. I mean, MajorManiak didn't really have to do all that much, had pretty much no damage as well. The rest of the team carrying them through. As Vivid says, horrible plays out of us. But let's talk about this final series of the day. And what a final series it was, all the way down to the wire in the Game 5. Who is even surprised at this point when these 2 teams match up? But as OpTic say, back on the main stage, of course, they'll be in front of fans on the Saturday. Whatever happened in this series, to be honest, because, well, of course, they were the number 1 seed out of that Group A. But the first map in this series was absolutely ridiculous. Checkmate Hardpoint really does produce some serious bangers. I know I say it quite often at this point, but it really does. The way the P1 to P2 rotation whole thing works, it just makes it so perfect. And if you can make a P2 break, as OpTic do right here, they can close out the game. Absolutely phenomenal work, to be honest, from the OpTic Gaming guys to break into this final hardpoint and get the job done. It was pretty ridiculous the way this whole thing concluded, because honestly, I didn't think they were going to break in. They were down massively in this game as well. Bring it back, close out map number 1, and that really could be a catalyst for them in this series. But the problem is, their Search and Destroy against Ultra has been very questionable this entire season. This is another example, as you can see on screen here. If Dashy gets this skill onto CleanX, he's literally on his screen. Doesn't seem, if he does, maybe they win that round. Maybe things turn around somewhat in this Miami Search and Destroy. Doesn't work out for them though. I don't mind the Miami pick, to be honest, because Ultra have been looking a little bit shaky on this map as of late. I think they're like 1 in 3 on it, but they do have some repetitions, or at least, they've played it a fair bit more than OpTic have. So okay, Ultra do manage to get the job done, and this screenshot was somewhat telling, right, with Ultra 5-0 in Search and Destroy against Chicago this season. That's their first win of Miami against them, but still not the ideal look, right? Because it's pretty difficult to beat Ultra in just, in just 4 maps, as indeed we see in this series right here. But this control was absolutely insane. Reminded me a lot of the control they played against FaZe, to be honest. Early on, it was a 2-0 advantage for OpTic. Envoy absolutely went off on the main stage here this first, literally on the main stage actually now. It's been quite a while since we've been able to say that, and it's actually been true. But Envoy was just ridiculous, making so many plays around Kitchen. Such a great life advantage that they managed to build up here towards the end. And okay, that's a 2-0 advantage for OpTic. But Ultra bring it back all the way down to the line, and it's Scump that was required to do some incredible things. I'm not really sure if Ultra made the perfectly correct plays here, because Scump was in basketball for like 2 minutes. He was just chilling in there, and Ultra just kept spawn killing his teammates again and again, and Scump finally struck when it mattered, gets a big kill on pretty much on the hard point, and they end up closing out the game. So massive play from Scump just to stay alive and make the play when it was required. Played it pretty much perfectly. Ultra probably misplayed it, but got somewhat scared of exactly what Scump was up to, and they take a 2-1 advantage in the series. And as Karma says right here, I think this hardpoint is pretty much a must-win. They go to a Garrison hardpoint, a game where they've been honestly pretty damn good so far this season, but this felt, to be honest, like a bit of a must-win for the guys on the OpTic Chicago, because Search and Destroy map 5, always going to be questionable for them, especially against Ultra, who seem to have had their number in that game mode this entire season. And this is what happened in the Garrison hardpoint. I was very impressed. The communication from the Ultra guys, the way their SMG duos were firing on all cylinders, but also the ARs came to play as well, was something that really OpTic couldn't compete with. They lose this one pretty dramatically. I mean, at one point, they pretty much get the next 100 points here from this listening, as you can see. End up closing it out like 250 to 136 or something. So despite all the clutch factor from OpTic early on in the hardpoint and in the control, they still find themselves in a game 5. And the problem is with game 5 for OpTic is Ultra's teamwork, first of all, is absolutely next level. But at the end of the day, OpTic in game 5 so far this year have always been pretty bit questionable. I think they were like 3-6 or something going into this map. And that is just not going to be quite enough for OpTic Chicago once again. So very much intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. They got so close, but once again in a great spot in the winners brackets, falling short, unfortunately, the OpTic guys down to losers yet again. I mean, they don't get the chance to, face Rokkr in the winners finals. This is the bracket as it looks after today's games. Of course, the final series hasn't been filled in as yet, but Ultra will be here. So one of Toronto Ultra and Minnesota Rokkr will be in the grand finals guaranteed. And OpTic are going to go down to FaZe's side of the bracket. That is, not ideal for all involved. That losers bracket, absolutely stacked. Intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. Really helps out the YouTube algorithm that you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well. And I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care. And I will see you next time.